don't need bigger knife. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
So welcome back, everybody. Hopefully we are here and audible, and you can hear us all. So we are going to get into the review of the night. We are going to be looking at the Spyderco NightStick.
That is a very odd view of that knife, Joe.
Yeah.
It's loading in. Don't worry. I'm playing with it right now.
Okay.
Joe got some good ones, did he?
Oh, boy.
It was just very zoomed in and cropped and slowly came into the whole image.
I was massaging it. Don't you worry.
Dirty.
Here, this might be a better cover photo if it loads. Oh, wow. You get it loading in slowly from the side. That's great. That takes me back.
So if it's not obvious, apparently we're doing the review of a Spyderco NightStick.
It's a fixed blade, Spyderco. Good times. Good times.
Yep.
They do make them.
Justin's got a new shirt for Joe to make. I was massaging it.
Oh, that's terrible. But I actually kind of like it.
Why do you think he was gone for part of the first episode?
I was massaging it.
Oh my.
No, can't say that without laughing. Oh.
No, Mr. Fisk, I'm not reading the comments. You're a jerk.
You hurt Paul's feelings.
Yep. The piss on it is Joe's thing. You've hurt Joe's feelings.
Mm-hmm. Don't take away Joe's thing.
It makes me cry. Makes me sad.
It will. I'm sure you'll shed tears.
So like there's gamer girl bathwater. Should there be knife collector tears?
Knife collector eye juice.
Oh, makes it sound like you're slicing open that eye.
That doesn't sound good at all. Yeah,
No.
no. So back to the Spyderco NightStick,
Yeah.
or as I like to call it, the NightSticker, because I think it should have an ER on the end of it, just for good measure's sake, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely like a superhero name. Or a supervillain, I guess, more likely.
Not even really super, just like that really greasy guy who hangs around the 7-Eleven at 2 a.m. It's that guy.
I need to address the capital letters in chat, or full-on screaming. Floss Dance Paul. Yes, Floss Dance Paul. No. You will not be having... I will not be getting up and floss dancing right here. No.
There are some resounding cries from our audience, and I'm sure we'll try to work something out for you guys here, but we'll see what happens.
On another note, before we get back into the review, I gotta acknowledge the comment from oh, I see why you have a problem with his name. Infinite Gunworks. Are knife collector tears better or worse than nano oil? Better in terms of being more exclusive, absolutely, 100%. More effective? No, not in the least.
I'm pretty sure they rust your knives. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
It's salty.
Especially Joe's.
They're salty tears.
Yeah.
You really don't want to use Joe's tears as lube.
No. Lube.
I mean, lube.
That's what he's asking. He's asking a knife lube question.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't like it when you say it like that.
Of course you do.
When you said it out loud, I don't like. Darren saying, we paid good money, Paul. You will listen to us. I'm not your trained monkey.
Dance, monkey, dance!
We're all kind of the trained. Yeah. I think he's got a point, Paul. I think something needs to happen.
There are many things that I will do on the internet. Dancing is not one of them.
Oh, as a fellow white boy, I agree. 1,000%. Anyway, a dagger, you say?
Yes,
so a dagger, you say?
So who's going to score first?
Someone else.
Not it.
I'll go.
I'll go.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So,
Joe.
damn it.
Joe's going? All right. Let's bring up Joe's score. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of emails that didn't go through, this is horseshit.
Oh, this better have gone through. There we go. Okay. Holy biased. All right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty biased. I love daggers. Sorry, I'm trying to send this to myself so I can actually pop it up on screen. Getting file ready. I already sent this like an hour ago to myself. This is such horseshit. But you know what? I'll just start reading it out, and then I'll put the display up on screen in a sec. I gave this thing a pretty good score. I gave it an 87, an A-. Objectively, it fell short in one particular area, cost versus materials. If you know anything about Spyderco fixed blades, they charge, generally speaking, way too much money for the materials that they're using. So that got a 6. But cost versus fit and finish, cutting ability, and ergonomic execution, all keeping in mind that this is a dagger, those all got 9s. For the size, for the way it's meant to be carried, I don't really know many ways that you could improve on this without reducing how classy of a knife it is. I think they knocked it out of the park. Lockup and Actuation, I actually gave a 10. Specifically because when it's in its Boltaron style sheath, and let me see if I have I got a picture there. This guy locks up so damn securely, it's not even funny. Like, there's absolutely zero rattle to this thing. Let's just pop up a picture there. There we go. Objectively, I actually I gave it a material choice of 7. I thought that, okay, like S30V, sure, whatever. I mean,
You
like,
mean personally, but
yeah.
You
So
said
sorry.
objectively.
Oh, sorry. Objectively, I gave it a 6. For material choice, personal score was a 7. But that was as low as it got. Aesthetics, I gave it a 9. This is my rigid boot knife. They don't make that guy anymore. There's another discontinued CRKT that they don't make anymore, the Synergist. If you notice, there's a theme here of stuff that Joseph likes. They're sharp and pointy. So daggers, I mean, you're going to tell me that Spyderco made a dagger and then they made it in such a comfortable little size range? Yeah, of course I'm going to be interested. Ergonomics, I gave it an 8 because for a belt-mounted dagger that you can turn horizontal, which is probably how I would set that up if I were to carry, it's a pretty...
Carry, right?
Same way that you could set up the CRKT Sting that I have on my belt. I prefer horizontal carry mounted like this, if possible. And the fact that that knife can do it, pretty excited about it.
It can do it, but it's probably gaining an extra half inch to 3/4 of an inch on both sides.
Yeah. So
as far as a carryability goes.
Yeah. So you have to be willing to live with that extra length on your belt. And I actually wanted to
compared
bring this
to the
up.
Sting, I mean, right? Like,
Absolutely. And the only reason I know that I would be okay with the Spyderco is because I'm okay with the Rook Hornet, which is around the same length overall in the sheath, roughly. And this is still very comfortable horizontally.
That's true. I do carry that one horizontally as well. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Ergonomic preference and enthusiasm both got a 10. That dagger, and I'll show a picture here of the fit and finish, just in terms of how seamless the blend is between the handle and the handle material and the blade material. Jesus, that's loading slow. They're pretty high-res photos, so. But anyway, the blending that they did was so well done. Like, there's no gaps, there's no real weirdness anywhere. There's a nice big blown up shot of it, yeah.
Very nice.
Like, it's just beautiful, right? And yeah, it's G10, but it's very well polished, so it's incredibly comfortable in hand. I'm kind of nuts about this design. I spent a little bit too much money recently on another expensive knife, so that's honestly, if I hadn't bought this and if we didn't have this in the shop, that Spyderco would have come home with me the instant I saw it. Like, kind of a sucker for it.
The internet wants to know, Joe, are you on dial-up?
No. No, it's what I'm doing is loading the photos from my computer into Chrome. Normally I do that before the episode, but for whatever reason my email didn't go through to myself. Maybe because the files were too big, who knows.
Yeah.
But it does have that fun sideways loading effect, which again I haven't seen in many years.
You can have loading or audio, but not both. Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm starting to feel like more and more our audience is made up of like those two grumpy old men from the Muppets in the balcony.
Wake me when the show starts.
It's already been on a while.
Wake me when it's over.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just
Accurate.
all our audience is, like 50 of them. Well, 7 of them.
I was gonna say, there's a dozen of them on a good night. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to go through a few comments here real quick. Ahsoka.
Oh,
And some were asking you to floss dance. Joe and Nigel were
Oh.
good sports about
sorry.
when we
Paul.
asked them to fight.
So sorry, Paul.
I'm not doing it live,
Paul.
but it's going to happen.
My internet connection. I don't know what happened, but it just went out for a sec and then loaded back in. So right after you said Ahsoka, it stopped.
Okay.
Yep. So sorry if you just want to repeat that.
Ryu.
I got to find the comment again. Ahsoka Edge said, floss for dem dollars, Paul. Mr. Fisk said, when we asked Joe to fight Nigel, they were good sports. Now we're asking Paul to floss dance. And I'm not doing it live. They were able to make a video. A video will probably get made, but no. Just no. What else is in here? Hipster Joe has a discontinued knife. You've probably never heard of it. Rolls eyes. Joe wants a dagger. What a shock. Maybe he'll get one with a good heat treat this time. Darren gives it a 0 because it has a hole in the blade. That's just lazy.
But how
It's not lazy because they had to put effort to put the hole in.
Yeah, okay. The floss dance, yes. The floss dance fundraiser will update Joe's internet so that he loads in better. For sure.
So real talk about that hole. How much does it piss you guys off that hole isn't dead center in the fucking knife?
It doesn't bug me.
Really?
It doesn't
Yeah.
bug me.
Because it pisses
Yeah.
me off. It should have been dead center.
I
Well,
want
it just it indicates which side is sharpened already and which side isn't.
I guess.
Yeah, so it's balanced. It makes
too
sense.
close to the edge.
It may make
Because
sense.
I want to sharpen that knife.
But I don't like it.
Like I'm planning, if I ever bought one, I would sharpen it from in front of the hole.
Right.
I wouldn't sharpen the way back on the backside. Just to not deal with that. What's being said here? The hole would have looked good if they had put it where it belonged, not on a knife. In a donut.
Donuts are tasty.
That lack of space is theirs, though. They claimed it in the name of Spyderco.
It's trademarked.
You know that thing that's not there? That's ours.
And Mr. Fisk is right. You can't patent a hole, but you can trademark it, apparently.
Suckers.
Mr. Fisk in chat, all caps. You can't invent a hole, but they did.
That's the worst part, is they did.
The lack of space is trademarked, like Vanta Black. Exactly. It's just like that, but open space.
Except for that snake. It doesn't give a fuck. It's going to be Fanta Black whether you like it or not.
If you've ever taken an art class, you know all about negative space. Like every piece of art that I've ever had to do had to have a certain amount of negative space in it by
It's important.
requirement. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Donuts make Ahsoka go nuts. So there's that. That's a thing you now know.
Thank you.
Okay then.
You can't unknow it.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I wish you were.
So I don't know who's the most hatery, or if we want to be hatery on Joe a little bit for his score. I saw
yeah,
Nigel
pile it on.
kind of gasp at some of your scores when you
The
We
main
both
one
up.
for me was the 10 up for lockup and actuation. Yes, it locks up tightly and doesn't have rattle, but my experience with the Boltron sheaths, they are a pain in the ass. It is very easy to feel like you've put the knife in and not have it actually lock in. It's a very, very fine line between actually being in and not, and it's only like the very, like an eighth of an inch that actually catches.
Right.
They're a pain in the ass. I hate Spyderco's Boltron sheaths
I will say
so
that
much.
on this particular model, it locks up very solidly. It's very much like a Kydex snap in, no rattle.
It is true.
I'm not talking about the rattle. This thing has no rattle
but
either.
what I'm saying is you can tell when it's completely and fully engaged, and maybe it's due to the shape of the handle. In particular, the fact that it flares out, not quite like this, but the fact that it does come out. I think that has something to do with it. Yes, but yours doesn't lock up on the handles. Yours locks up on the blade steel, which isn't as thick.
I will actually
No, that's the only part it locks up on is the handles.
I will actually kind of side with Joe on this one. I think the sheath on the nightstick is better than your Kumo.
Fair enough.
I think it does mold around the guard a little bit more, but that also means you have to be more accurate sheathing and unsheathing because of the cutting it factor as well. I don't think it sits naturally in a sheathing unsheathing. But the big thing for me, more than anything, is the actual clip placement.
Yeah.
And if Joe wants to carry it horizontal, that's fine. But I hate horizontal carry in almost all of my knives. I try, and I don't enjoy it.
Fair enough.
So for me, when you see your rigid sheath or my Bark River sheath, they all have that clip that makes the handle sit relatively low against your hip. And if you look at
pretty high up,
yeah, and it is high up even on your nightstick. It's really high on the Kumo, but it's high on the nightstick as well. And for me, that's going to bug my hip a little bit for sure.
That is a concern with daggers like this. I find that carrying it, what would you call that, at your 5 or 4 o'clock is much more comfortable than carrying it on the side of your hip.
That was too tactical for me to understand, Joe. Can you dumb it down a bit?
6 o'clock is directly behind you.
I was joking.
Yeah.
we can't even make 7:15 on time. When you think you're going to remember where 5 o'clock is?
Did Nigel say Voltron? Isn't that a robot?
Yes.
Yes, it is a robot. I said Boltron because that's Spyderco's trademark name, whatever, for Kydex or the molded plastic is Boltron with a B, not a B.
I haven't looked for a Boltron.
You say it's valid because Joe went to art school and knows daggers.
See, the thing about that...
I'm just going to keep quiet. And
both of those things are true.
Who's going next?
Oh, I thought you guys were going to slag on me a little bit more.
No, that was my big slag too.
That was my only thing.
It was the same slag for me.
The lockup.
And I'm pretty sure you're going to notice that in our stores is because where it rides on a vertical carry pisses the hell out of me, type of thing.
Right.
On that note, my score for the nightstick was a 79, which is a B.
Right. I'll bring up yours. I'll slag on you too. Don't worry.
I gave it a 7 for cost versus materials, an 8 both for fit and finish versus cost and cutting ability. It's a pretty, for being a dagger and only being grabbed from the center of the blade, they did a pretty damn good job of thinning it out. Lockup and ergonomics, I gave it a 9. It's really neutral, so if it fits in your hand, I can't see you not finding it comfortable in some grip. And then for lockup and actuation, I actually gave it a 7, specifically because of how high it rides in the sheath. And I just don't like Kydex sheaths with plastic clips. I'd much prefer to have like a leather belt loop on it, like I got Nigel to do for my,
Infidel.
My Infidel.
The now discontinued Infidel.
Indeed. And then on the personal side of things, I gave the material choice a 7. It would have been an 8 any day of the week, but S30 is something that's just kind of there. I feel similar ways about S35 kind of at this point. I have enough things in that steel. I gave it a 9 for aesthetic. I did take a point away because that hole in it just takes a little bit away from that knife. It didn't need it. I get it. It's a Spyderco. It has to have it, but whatever. I gave it a 6 for pocket ergos because I personally hate that style of sheath. I didn't think about wearing it horizontally when I was assessing it because that's not the way they had it set up. Sideways on the left-hand side, maybe in the front, wouldn't be too bad, but I'd have to try it out. And then ergonomic preference and enthusiasm, I gave it a 9 because it's a dagger, and apparently I'm just Italian enough to enjoy that kind of thing.
Well, you know.
And I covet both Joe's Rigid and your Bark River boot knife in both your collections. I like the looks of those, and this has a lot of the same kind of aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, similar. Paul's score means nothing until he does the floss dance. That's fair.
Is it? That's kind of harsh.
No. Yeah. Darren's mean to me. It's okay.
There's a picture of it.
I'll live.
I'll go next if we want.
Sure.
I got to bring it up. I don't even remember.
Oh,
It's
don't
not
worry.
that good. I didn't give it a good score. Yeah, give it a 73, which is a C+. Yeah. Cost versus materials. Again, I think everyone dabbled on S30 and G10 as far as the price point with the Spyderco fixed blade.
Yeah.
Fit and finish, I actually was pretty generous on that one. The polish on this thing was pretty flawless. Like, there's not many mistakes that can be seen between it and, like, say, a custom level type of thing, right? So, cutting ability, I wavered on 7 and 8 for the cutting ability because, yes, it is thin behind the edge, but it is still a dagger. And I didn't dabble on too much cutting, but
I'll just say that's kind of funny. I gave it a 9 specifically because for a dagger it was ground really nicely, but it was with the concession that for a dagger, right?
yes. And I'm only looking at just overall performance. I'm not looking at it in a category of being a dagger. I'm just looking at it as far as a knife goes, I think, for myself, right?
Right.
And then lockup and actuation, I think I was a little more generous with the 8 because the Bolteron, like Joe was saying, was really solid compared to other things that I've seen, which are much more unstable, but I still don't like how it rides, right? So personally, I'm worn out on G10 and S30. I don't care what kind of format you throw it at me with, especially not with a $300 price point, right? Like,
Doesn't help.
And then pocket ergos, again, I think that's more for myself, the way I don't like how high this thing sits, how it rides. Yeah, that would bug me a little bit. And then enthusiasm, I wanted to like this knife, but with the sheath and the price of what it is, I can't get on board with it, right? So
Very fair.
Price is a hard pill to swallow for sure.
yeah. And I'm biased because, like, I love this belt loop style deep carry that the Bark River is in. If you did that with Spyderco Black, like I've seen on their
Like the Bow
Province,
River.
yeah, or the Province was a molded with stitched, and like it was a big 3V Bowie or 4V Bowie.
Yeah.
But I really like the stitching on it. And if you had done that style with I would be way more on board.
It's kind of annoying to say that the frickin' Spyderco throwers have a nicer sheath than that
We
boot knife.
so do.
And I figure if you three can slag on the Viper Bearers' sheath like nobody's business last week, I can at least lay into a night sticker here.
I can see
This
definitely why you wouldn't like the carry.
On the topic of the night sticker, Mr. Fisk is saying, I don't typically kill people, so I have zero use for a dagger. You know, you can use a knife for more than just one thing. It can be more. It can be more things.
It could be two things. Why shouldn't it?
Indeed.
I think that sums it up for me. Yeah. So,
Cool. So that leaves me then.
Indeed.
Surprise! I'm hatery.
70. All right.
Did we go
Yep.
progressively down the list without even meaning to?
I think we did.
Apparently.
That happens.
Very nice. Yeah.
So yeah, I gave it a flat 70. Gave it a C. As with most of you guys, one of the main things was the cost versus materials. We all dabbled on it already. Yeah, that's a tough pill. Fit and finish, cutting ability, and ergonomic execution all got 8s. Definitely did a wonderful job with that. It's very clean, really thin, very slicey for a dagger. Where it really bombed for me for the objective side was the lockup and actuation. I gave it a 6, Joe.
Did you not play with the knife in the sheath?
No, I was scared of it because it's a new product on the shelf and I didn't want to scratch it up because I know how horrible the inside edge of their sheaths are out of box.
Paul had mentioned that to me today, and I had a moment of, oh shit. So I checked the knife. It's fine.
Cool.
But I can understand your hesitation knowing how crappy the sheath is on your Spyderco Fixie.
Yeah, and part of my assumptions in with that was knowing that it was designed in the same sort of way as this guy, how it's like the complete handle is exposed and stuff like that, and it's just, I really, really, really do not like them.
No, that's, fair enough.
Yeah. Objective side was fairly balanced in the middle ground. Material choice, aesthetics, and ergonomic preference were all 7s. Little small for my hand, so little low for the ergonomic preference, but it wasn't bad. Pocket ergos got a 6 as well, because once again, their sheath sucks. I love their leather sheaths that they do. Like you touched on, their thrower sheath.
Yes.
Thrower sheath is awesome. I've got the Bow River. I've really been enjoying that sheath. It's a nice leather one. But yeah, I hate their molded plastic ones.
This knife could have been... Oh, sorry.
And Enthusiasm was also a 6 because, I don't really care for, I like daggers, but for the practicality of them, I don't care for them that much. And the sheath definitely helped knock down the Enthusiasm a whole bunch.
Yeah. I was just going to say that this could have been such a classy piece.
Yeah.
The knife by itself is cool as hell, but...
Mm-hmm.
I would get down
Kydex
with
and
I
classy
managed.
don't go together.
Sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
I just said classy and Kydex don't go together.
No.
Yeah.
Voltron, whatever you want. Kydex at the end of the day.
Yeah, not
Well, and that
usually.
actually lines up with what I was going to say. Me and Nigel both scored it a 6 for Enthusiasm, but aesthetics, I actually gave it a 9. I really like the way this thing looks. Like, I wanted to like this knife, right? But again, the sheath killer, which it seems like it seems to be a recurring thing on fixed blades. And one of the things for me as well is that the dagger didn't have a symmetrical sheath. And I know it doesn't need a symmetrical sheath because it's a dagger, but it just throws you off a little bit when it's...
Yeah, when it's a dagger that is inherently symmetrical because it's a dagger, the sheath should be symmetrical too. Yeah, that follows.
But you can make the same argument
over here again.
whole as blade alignment with sheath alignment and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
In this, particular case, because it is only sharpened on the one side from factory, okay, I mean, I get it. Doesn't mean I like it. Yeah.
Couple comments in chat here to get through real quick. That's an absurd take, Paul. Daggers are made for stabbing people. Try and cut a box with one. They do a pretty good job. Ahsoka.
Depends on the dagger.
Yeah, that's true. But my fact will cut down boxes all day. And that's not a dagger necessarily, but a thin dagger.
It's very dagger-like, yeah.
Yeah, and it does surprisingly well as a knife. What else was I going to say here? Ahsoka, damn, that thing is $300. Maybe they added a discount coupon applicable to any strip joint, which, as a comment, is awesome. Justin is confused about the difference between a strip joint and a knife store, which I'm concerned about deeply.
Yep.
He has not been tipping his servers accordingly if he thinks those are the same thing. Just saying.
I expect him to be fanning cash at us next time we see him.
Yeah.
Even
I like that idea.
Even if he comes in with Monopoly money, I'll appreciate it.
Not the one that they work at. You can't even get Paul to dance.
Nice.
Discount coupon for both from Ahsoka.
Yeah, there's usually a difference between the servers and the dancers, right?
At least like from one day to the next, I would assume.
Yeah.
There's a conduit pole right next to the checkout. You leave our conduit pole alone, Justin.
That is not a load supporting beam.
It is not weight bearing.
No.
It is not weight bearing at all.
It's a square pole. Like, ow.
You want to see Paul's legs chafe? Because that's how you get Paul's legs to chafe.
To chafe?
It's good.
I thought you said you want to see Paul's legs shaved, and I was like, that is not a Patreon level either.
No, chafe because of the corners on the square.
So yeah, we're done the review then, are we?
Yes, I guess. Yeah. Looking at everyone's scores here. Any complaints? Joe's on crack. I mean,
yeah, but that's
way
expected.
too many chins.
Hey, come on now. It's a dagger.
Ergonomic execution, like giving it a 9 even, is pushing your luck on the objective side. It's neutral, but is it double XL neutral for Nigel or
for a dagger?
Small.
For a dagger, I'm ranking at those numbers, right? I think I'm justified in most of those. The lockup and actuation, I mean, I'm pretty confident in that particular sheath's ability, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm being a little too nice for it?
Well, I mean, Paul also gave it a 9.
I was going to say, in Joe's defense, I did that too.
And then me and Nigel only gave it 8. So, I mean, yeah.
But an 8 from a guy with an extra large hand is a pretty good score for an extra large hand, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which means that it reaches a broad audience.
Yeah.
Look, if you want a small, somewhat compact dagger made of decent materials that you can carry on your hip, this is a good option in terms of what it is. You're going to pay a pretty penny for it, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's other options in that price point that are probably a lot nicer than a NightStick for $300 or $280 or $275 or whatever you want to find it at, right?
It's definitely overpriced. It is a Gail Bradley design. Maybe that has something to do with it. But Spyderco's
I was saying to Joe today that there is a certain amount of desire for the knife just because it's got Gail Bradley's name attached to it. And as much as I want to buy one of Gail Bradley's knife, I refuse to buy the Gail Bradley 2 because I just can't get over the way it locks up and dealing with the lock bar. I'm just never going to buy one. But I'm sure there's going to be something else that comes out from Gail Bradley that I will enjoy and buy.
Well, I mean, you better do it quick. He's not a spring chicken either. I mean, if him and Osborne start negotiating prices here.
Right? Gail Bradley designed dagger, so he made it for competitive stabbing.
Damn straight.
Yes.
Yeah. But only if he's using the Canadian stabbing grid.
Yep.
That's regulation, man.
Yeah, it's got to be. And no sarcastic sorries either.
Like, you gotta mean them. Otherwise, you're disqualified.
Yeah. On that note, It's almost 9 o'clock. Do we want to head to another break and then come back for knife fights and random jibber jabber?
Most certainly. So yeah, once again, we are leaving you to the torment of our horrendously long, uneventful breaks. Enjoy the black screen while we refresh our drinks, and hopefully you will do the same.
Government mandated break.
I can't believe I got to go on another break. This is bullshit.
We'll be back shortly.
We don't need